Hello everyone, this video will be pretty unusual for my channel, because I won't play EU4, instead I will just briefly talk about my experience with EU5. Think of it as first impressions honestly, I would love to tell you more about mechanics, about strategies, but I'm absolute newbie, I feel like an ape in a spaceship, it's extremely complex game. So essentially I'll just tell you my opinion. So first of all, this is extended timeline in EU4, I did play as Flanders. So in EU4, Flanders is a really small nation, really small, just a few provinces. Alright, so in EU5 it doesn't matter at all. Here are the low countries in EU5. And yes, all of those locations don't just look pretty, they all have their own buildings, population, etc. Yeah, Flanders is also 2 provinces in EU5, but around 12 locations, so it actually doesn't feel small at all. And yes, if you wonder, France does look like this, and Germany does look like this. And yes, diplomacy is pretty difficult at first, because even finding the nation you want to ally is pretty difficult. Look at this. This is absolute border gore. But anyway, I kind of just pulled up developer diaries to just illustrate what I'm talking about. First of all, the provinces are absolutely gorgeous. So I expected EU5 to be fun to play tall. I didn't expect it to be that fun. It's kind of insane. I've kind of played Flanders for 100 or so years, and the only province I conquered is this one. Yes, I cut only one province, and it doesn't really even feel that bad. I mean, I conquered this province like 30 years ago, and it still doesn't do much because of, let me illustrate next point, control. I actually love how they made it in EU5. So technically you can't really make a core, you can't just click a button and make a core, alright? So this is what I'm talking about. Once you conquer a province, it's not integrated at all, it gives absolutely zero benefits to you. It might be even detrimental to your country that you conquered the province. And yes, by the way, don't be afraid, UI has changed a little bit. I actually quite like it right now. So what you need to do essentially is you need to first go to your cabinet, click on integrate interaction. It will do some magic. Eventually the province will become integrated. And it will still be useless, absolutely useless. What's kind of also important is culture. So in EU5, you either need to accept a culture or convert a province for it to be useful to you. So right now what I'm doing in EU5 is essentially I put a guy right here with good diplomatic skills. The skills right here are kind of like manner replacement. And I gave a mission to convert the province to my culture. And it does actually work. The French culture is disappearing. There are actually a few more options, pretty fun ones. Like, I'm pretty sure there is an option to expel people from the province. I haven't played with it yet, but I kind of want to. But anyway, only once you get 50% of your culture, the province will be somewhat manageable. Or you can accept the culture, it will also work. Right now, I'm very glad that EU5 has a lot of automation built in. I think I will talk about it a bit more. But I can just click a button like manage buildings for me. Estates also manage buildings for you. So I can just kind of focus on first food. Second, I built lumber mills, some stone RGOs to make buildings cheaper. I think it works. I'm not sure, but I think it works. They're pretty cheap. They cost like 15 ducats or so for me. And just generally the most profitable ones at military. So it's not a headache at all, it's actually pretty fun. All I can say is not boring at all, it's pretty fun to develop your provinces. By the way, one of the genius things that Paradox made is the distance from capital affects the control. So what that means is that if your capital is far away from your land, you lose control. Let me even show you how it works. So my first run in EU5, failed run, I want to say failed, completely failed, was as Golden Horde. And essentially I had control like maybe somewhere around here. Locations around my capital brought them some benefit, but provinces farther away, especially in Siberia, were useless. Literally useless. They had zero control. So this is what I was talking about. Essentially, the bigger the nation, the more useless conquest is. I mean, you can paint a map, but combined with the integration and that the farther the province away from your capital, the less control you have, essentially it becomes useless to conquer it. So one way to avoid this debuff is build roads. It might sound a little bit micro-heavy that you need to build roads to every location, but actually it's not, it's pretty easy. Economic development is fun of course, but let's talk about something even more fun. So first of all, let's start with the elephant in the room. There are no missions in EU5. There is a thing called missions. It's completely different from this one. I'm not really sure if it was covered in developer diaries, but essentially the missions in EU5 are more like tutorials or kind of like agendas, I guess. So it's not like in EU4 you get cool mission with flavor, you complete it and you get some insane bonuses. So you get a mission tree, it just leads you to modernizing your country or conquering some stuff. You complete it and you get some minor small bonus. Maybe they will get better, maybe not, who knows. But they work. They're just don't bring any flavor. Speaking about flavor, even though there are no missions, there is, believe me, a lot of flavor. Like, absolutely insane amount of flavor. So to be honest, before playing EU5, I didn't really read much of this stuff right here, and I actually was extremely surprised when I launched it. So let's take a look at Golden Horde, for instance. So a lot of flavor is done by international organizations and some cool situations. So for instance, Golden Horde has a Tatar yoke on all Slavic princes, pretty much. There are a lot of general, non-country specific situations too, like Western Schism, for example. Pretty much all Catholics can participate. Or 100 Years War, for instance. I probably can't show much about what flavor I talk specifically, but even when playing as Holland or Flanders, I had a ton of unique events. I'm not really sure if they're country specific or like for a whole region. Once again, I didn't play for too long. I'm pretty much a newbie. But I do know that pretty much all countries I played, like Castile, for instance, Golden Horde, Holland, Flanders, also tried Snowcore, Sweden, they play all extremely differently. Even without events, even without situations, like just the geography itself really influences how you play. For instance, as Holland, I struggled with food a lot. It might have been actually a skill issue, but I think they only have some livestock and fish, while Flanders has a lot more of food producing RDOs, like wheat and legumes, I think. Anyway, flavor exists, which is good, even without mission trees. I really didn't expect EU5 to have that much flavor. It's much better than Victoria at the start. Let's talk about some other cool stuff. Estates are pretty important. They are like Mayo and Texas estate. I'm pretty sure I did a video about that mod. Essentially, estate interactions are very complex. They are completely different from EU4, absolutely. There are still privileges that you still need to match estates, but really I would say estates are pretty big part of EU5. It's not something that you just give privileges to and forget. Also, like how they did the economy, it's pretty similar too. You get the sliders. Yeah, here we go. Once again, don't mind the UI, it became much better at this point. But essentially for the economy, first you can mint some coins, which gives you some inflation. I generally try to just keep it at 0, pretty good income. And you can tax your estates, but the more you tax, the less happy they are. And I actually could talk a lot about just estates, but you rely on them a lot, especially in early game. Most of army in early game is taken from estates, not from mercenaries or just regular armies. In the early game, actually, regular armies are pretty limited. But very interesting thing about estates right here, you can't just turn up the slider to 100, you can't. I think it kind of changes late game, depends on your advanced laws and stuff. I'm pretty sure about it. But there is, by default, a maximum limit of taxation. You can't just put 100% of taxes on your estates. It really depends on their influence, on your laws, on their privileges, on your advances, etc. I actually don't know, it might be different in different countries. I'm pretty sure in Europe, clergy starts without taxes. You can't tax them at all. Other states you can tax them, but you're still pretty much limited. Even if they're happy, there is a limit. One very neat thing about economy is interest and food. First of all, interest is insane in EU5, like literally insane. Like, you know, you can't just do like in EU4, just take 10 loans. Pretty bad idea, because you take loans from your estate, you don't just pull them from thin air. And actually other countries can buy out loans too. So what it means is that interest itself is pretty insane actually. It's pretty insane. I actually don't know if it's always the same or if it depends on who lends to you, but I know it's pretty big. It's pretty big. When playing in Flanders, I like to give out some loans to England because I get like 2 ducats a month just from interest alone. And food is actually what ended some runs for me. It's tied to plague, kind of. So food is very important resource. If you have more food than necessary, you can sell it and it's pretty profitable. If you don't, you can literally enter death spiral because you buy too much food. Like, I'm not exaggerating, like I had Holland run, it ended only because I was buying too much food and I didn't have cash to buy up some RGOs to produce more food. It also obviously depends on the country and on the geography, but really it can make or break your run. It's pretty important. So here, for example, here it's -2. I actually think I had around -9 in just buying food, which was pretty insane. And yeah, one very neat thing about EU5 is that you can adjust the fort maintenance. It's not either mothball or not, it's like a slider. Pretty cool. And they also actually changed diplomacy stuff a little. For the next point, I would actually love to talk a little bit about diplomacy. It's actually one of the things that I really like about EU5. I suspect it's kind of unbalanced at the moment. Maybe I'm just doing it wrong. In essence, it's pretty similar to EU4, right? So, for instance, we want to ally Bohemia, we send our diplomat to improve relations. Want to, for instance, ally England, we do the same, but we don't have set amount of diplomats. Well, this screenshot is not really demonstrating it as well. Essentially, diplomats is kind of like a bar. You get some diplomats by default every month, depending on your laws, advances, and other stuff. And you lose diplomats when you improve relations, when you build spy network, etc. Some parliament debates also give you like 5 diplomats or so. So essentially, you have kind of more diplomats than in EU4, and kind of less because you need to wait for them to build up. I actually feel that it's a lot easier to improve relations and build spy networks in EU5 because you just have more diplomats. Overall, I would say diplomacy is different from EU4, but it's very familiar. It's pretty easy to learn it. It's pretty much similar. Especially the spy actions, they're actually, I think they're almost the same as in EU4. What I actually love about EU5 is that sabotage reputation is available at the start pretty much, and it costs only 5 spy network. So you can easily make nations hate each other. That's pretty cool. So I actually also want to touch on technology. I think it's also cool what they've done there. Yep, it's right here. I think the UI actually didn't really change much here. Essentially, it's like a tech tree, like in Victoria. When the new age comes, I didn't play past Renaissance, but at least during Renaissance you can choose your focus and it will automatically unlock some branch of the tech tree. And institutions aren't really like in EU4, like, oh hey, you don't have a Renaissance, you get plus 50% technology cost. They actually unlock new tech tree branches instead, which I feel is much more natural and better. So if you don't have banking, for instance, you can research some technologies, but your tech tree is limited. Alright, I really want to touch kind of on trading. If you think EU4 trade is difficult, EU5 will literally blow your mind. I wouldn't say it's incomprehensible, right? It's not impossible to learn, but if you want to know how that trade looks like and feels like in EU5, imagine playing Victoria 3 in Excel spreadsheet. Well, that's how I can describe it. Thankfully for players with skill issue like me, you can completely automate the trade. It's actually one of the best features of EU5. You can automate everything, so you can just tell AI to do everything for you. And it's not really even terrible actually, it's pretty good. I mean, it's not min-maxing, obviously. Obviously, player would do better, but it's good. Although I'm going to be honest, I think it's similar to EU4, that if you master trade in EU5, it's going to be pretty easy. Once you do that, it's pretty profitable, and trade is not only about income. I can't really elaborate because I don't really understand the trade, but it's pretty cool. But it's pretty complex, in short. It's really complex. Oh my god, when I first opened the trade tab, my mind was literally blown up, like I couldn't understand what's going on at all. But in any case, some other cool stuff. Stability is not from -3 to +3, it's actually from -100 to 100. You can actually spend some ducats to increase your stability, it works. There is parliament for, I think, most nations, if not all nations. Kind of like in Crusader skin, I guess, if you have played this. By the way, about performance, it's actually not terrible in EU5. I think it's surprisingly good. It will take tens of hours to play from the start to finish, I'm pretty sure. I've been playing as Flanders for like 1 day or so, and I only progressed for 70 years or so. It kind of depends on your CPU, but I think EU5 performance is similar to early Victoria 3. It's pretty similar. It's not terrible. It's not as fast as EU4, but it's not terrible. And I just want to highlight that events are pretty cool because there are a lot of events that you would recognize. A lot of them. So I'm pretty sure I've seen something similar like this. And they even give similar awards, like prestige or religious influence. There is a combat event, it also impacts stability. And I think the last thing I want to touch on is warfare. So I liked EU5, but once I declared independence war against France, let's get some CB. Here we go. So first of all, let me just reenact how it looks like for me. Essentially in EU5, it depends movement. So I'm actually pretty lucky here. I was playing as Flanders, and that's pretty much it looked like for me. In EU5, you can declare independence movements against your overlords, and you can invite pretty much everyone. I thought diplomacy is a little bit easier in EU5 because of what I could do, essentially. Yeah, I'm cheating right now, I know, I just can't demonstrate it with EU4 mechanics. So I got Castile, Aragon, Portugal, Bohemia, actual Austria, but I can't do it right now, Hungary, Poland, Denmark, England, Holland, and I think also Brittany actually, into independence movement, and we all together could declare, like, literally. It was pretty broken. France, by the way, is still pretty strong, it kind of took some time to beat it up. But anyway, so what I like about EU5 is specifically automation. So in EU4 you can give like missions to ships, like protect trade, privateer, hunt pirates, right? In EU5 you can do the same with armies. So it's kind of like manage rebels, manage autonomous region, but it's good. It's good. So there is like a pop-up window where you can choose hunt down armies, siege down provinces, you know, some stuff like this. I tried it and surprisingly, AI didn't kill my armies. It was fine. It's not great. The choices sometimes are questionable, but it's fine. It's fine. It does eliminate a lot of micros, so I think if I played like more to the late game, when I had a lot of armies, I think it would actually help me a lot. It's really kind of similar to manage autonomous rebels. You can just choose the area where it's going on, and the army moves automatically. Pretty funny thing is that forts are everywhere, like literally almost all locations have some kind of fort. Like, imagine this province is divided by 3, and there are 2 forts right here, not 1. And the same right here, and right here. Each province has multiple forts, and you need to siege them down. And one also very neat thing about this is that once you have certain amount of war score, and your goal is fulfilled, you can automatically enforce your war goal. The country just can't refuse. As a downside, I think countries are much more hesitant to agree to your peace deal. It's not like in EU4 that you can just siege them down and they will be happy to agree. It actually takes some time. I had like 85 war score against France, and it only gave me 1 province essentially. 1 province and independence. And let me just tell a little bit about battles. So I pulled up some older developer diary. So the battles right now are much prettier, I would say. They actually look pretty pleasant to me. They are based on dice rolls. As you can see, the kind of positioning system improved. Navies have similar stuff right here. I think it's somewhat similar to EU4. As you see, the regiments have kind of like front line, like battle line. But EU4 looks like board game in comparison. EU5 military system is pretty complex. Generals also don't really have like your usual pips. They have military skills, I think. Maybe they do have some kind of military modifiers, but I didn't notice them. There are much more types of units. There are handguns, weapons, artillery, cavalry, supply units, pretty much everyone you can think of. So this is supposed to be just a brief first impression, so I left out a lot of stuff I could talk about. A lot of stuff. Overall, what can I say about EU5? If you like EU4, you would love EU5. It's different experience, but it's not alien. It's not something incomprehensible. It's not something that you don't know anything about. The downside is that EU5 is probably the most complex game I ever played. The learning curve is quite literally insane. When I said that I don't have 100 hours and I can't really talk about much, it's not exaggeration. The complexity is absolutely insane. I'm pretty sure you can play for 100 hours and not even see half of the mechanics. But on the other hand, it's also pretty manageable because you can just automate a lot of things and learn one by one. There's also very cool thingy. It's like in Civilization, like Developedia. There is essentially like mini game wiki that built into the game. So if you don't know how to do something, you can just pull it up, search for the mechanic you would like to know about, and it tells you what to do, how to do it, and it's pretty convenient. So as you can see, I'm not really doing a EU4 video, not because I didn't want to, but because I got so addicted to EU5, I kind of couldn't. So for me personally, the game is great. It's not perfect. It's obviously not perfect. It's obviously don't expect that EU5 comes out and it's perfect right from the start. My impressions sound very positive. Obviously, there are a lot of problems. I right now trying to figure out what's a skill issue and what's a real problem. But overall, the game is really fun. It's really fun. So obviously, if you're a hardcore fan, you obviously most likely didn't learn much from this video. But I just kind of tried to give a brief overview on how it feels like, on how it plays like. For instance, I didn't mention plague at all, population, briefly skimmed on institutions. I think I could literally talk about it for hours. But anyway, I really hope you learned something cool about EU5. I'm actually not sure if I would make more EU5 videos, because I kind of lack deep understanding of the mechanics of the game. At least I hope closer to release I would be able to do some crazy strategies like I like to do. I already have some cool ideas, especially with expelling minorities. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. Hope you liked it. If you liked it, please like it and subscribe to my channel. Have a good day.